Coming up on Signal by Sony, we'll see how well the Alpha NEX5 performs in the hands of a pro photographer and in the hands of a camera noob.
And a movement is taking place in Norway thanks to these orb-headed party crashers. Confused? Don't worry, we'll explain. Signal by Sony starts right now.
Hey everybody, I'm Melody.
And I'm Anthony. Thanks for joining us. As you might have guessed by the name, this is a show about all things Sony. But it's not an infomercial, and it's not all Sony sunshine. Whether it's electronics, gaming, or entertainment, we're going to take this time to answer some questions you might have had, and even show you some stuff that you've never seen before.
Most importantly, we'll get the chance to take some of the latest gear out for a test spin to see how they perform in the real world. And if you're considering a Sony product, maybe we'll help you do some of your homework, and hopefully you can make some informed decisions on the way.
With that in mind, let's talk digital cameras, specifically this digital camera, the Alpha NEX5. This is great. It's a compact camera, but it's got a DSLR-sized sensor and interchangeable DSLR-style lenses.
So the NEX5 is really in a unique category of its own. When we want to think about its physical body size, it's a lot closer to the Sony CyberShot here, but as far as performance goes, it's way more on par to, let's say, this DSLR camera.
People like to compare this camera because it has the interchangeable lenses of a DSLR, but a point-and-shoot style body. They like to compare it to Micro Four Thirds cameras, like this one by Panasonic, or this Olympus over here. You've probably been reading a lot about those. But the NEX is really sort of different than those cameras, because if you look inside of one of these Micro Four Thirds cameras, you see the size of the sensor here. And that's what they're called Micro Four Thirds for. That's a Micro Four Thirds sensor. In here, though, you can see if we hold them up next to each other, this has got the same size sensor as a DSLR. Basically, with a larger sensor size, you get softer backgrounds for better portraits, you get good low light images. You got no built-in flash, you'll notice, on the NEX5, because in most cases it doesn't need it. I took some pictures, like, actually at night, like in the black of night last night, at a hill outside my house, and it looks like sunset. Really, really beautiful pictures. So talking about the interchangeable lenses, in addition to the 16mm lens or the 18 to 55mm lens that come with it, if you already have an Alpha camera, you can use your lenses with an adapter, which is great. I mean, the adapter's $200, but if you have a lot of Alpha glass already, dude, that's great, because you can use your entire collection.
And even if you have some old school Minolta lenses lying around, you can use that same adapter and use all of those Minolta lenses on your NEX5. So that's some good news over there.
Totally awesome. 7 new E-mount lenses are coming out for the NEX in the next 2 years.
7 new lenses.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of first-party lens support happening. 4 of them are coming out in the next year, so a lot of stuff is coming soon. There are a bunch of firmware updates coming out soon, which includes something that a lot of users have been asking about on the NEX Flickr group, which is, I put my Alpha lenses on my NEX, and it's great, but it becomes a totally manual lens.
Yeah.
So there's a firmware update coming for the adapter that allows you to use full autofocus with your Alpha lenses. A lot of updates to the UI are coming as well, including the addition of customizable buttons, so you can move the stuff that you use the most around and make it the most accessible features for you, so that's great. Everybody shoots differently. There's aperture control now in movie mode. So huge for things like depth of field, controlling your light levels. It's amazing. We want to be up front here. Right now, it's hard for Mac users to do these firmware updates, but Sony is working on easier ways. For right now, if you've got a Mac, fire up Boot Camp or virtualization software, something like Parallels or VMware. Just run Windows and update the firmware from there. It's actually pretty simple.
And maybe play a game while you're in Windows.
Yeah, a little StarCraft. Why not?
So I've spent a lot of time with the NEX5, so I'm pretty familiar with the specs now, but I'm still a bit of a camera noob when it comes to taking pictures. I like my point and shoots, they fit in my purse. So what I did was I took the NEX5 on a photo shoot with a pro photographer from San Francisco. He was curious about the NEX5 anyway, so we both kind of won in that situation. Check this out. Hey, we're here in San Francisco, right by the harbor, and I'm here with Jeff Sturm, local photographer. Thanks for joining us today.
Sure.
All right, so I've seen your website, and I saw a lot of your photographs are gorgeous.
Thank you.
How would you describe your personal style of photography?
I would call it travel and documentary photography. I do a lot of international travel, a lot of just walking the street and seeing what I can find.
What kind of camera do you use?
I use a DSLR with a couple of different lenses, but it's pretty, kind of big.
Yeah, one of those hefty ones.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know you've spent a couple days now with the new Sony Alpha NEX5 camera.
Yes.
What's your overall conclusion? What do you think?
It's small, it's light, it's got a DSLR size sensor, which means great pictures, great low light stuff. So So far, so good.
All right, well, we've got all of San Francisco at our disposal.
Let's go.
Snap some shots. Are you in manual mode right now?
I'm in aperture priority mode. So if you go into the menu, it's got these creative modes. Creative style, where you can pick, that was just standard, right? So it's like everything's so blue and white here. So there's also, say, sunset. You know, maybe if you pick sunset, it'll warm it up a little bit. You can see the difference here.
Oh yeah, I see the kind of oranges pop a little more.
Yeah. Nice thing about this screen too is you can like kind of, you know, maybe rest it on something here to keep it steady.
So that helps with the composition?
Well, it also helps with, you know, just getting a sharp picture, and it does help you kind of line things up.
So I'm no pro, but my favorite thing to do on any camera is macro mode, just because it makes me feel like I'm taking a really gorgeous shot. So let's check out what the macro mode looks like on this camera. Sure.
Go to the menu and go to shoot mode. And I've got it on manual right now, but if you go to scenes, there are a bunch of choices here, portrait, landscape, and there's macro, so you just set it to macro. And then you use this handy flip-up screen here.
Ooh.
Get in real tight on this grass here, like that. Even with the sun in the background, it seems to not have any trouble with it. And yeah, it looks really good. That's a really nice effect. And really easy to do with that macro mode.
Oh,
here you go.
That's beautiful.
Right?
Okay, this is my favorite part of the camera.
Yeah.
You can do this great sweep panorama mode. And in fact, let me show you how it's done.
All right, why don't you?
So, how about you help me with the composition here?
Yeah, so
how's that?
You kind of get about half the horizon in there, so you just hold down the shutter and go for it.
Oh, I love that sound. And so now it's doing all the stitching in the camera.
Right, it stitches it together on the fly, and then one really cool thing you can do is you hit play, and you hit play again, and it animates your panorama and sweeps through it in slow-mo. But you can see the whole thing in as if it were a video.
The NEX5 will also shoot in full 1080i HD video. So that's the same quality HD video that you're getting like with your broadcast or cable connection. So we're talking really high quality. And all you have to do is press that little red button.
That one that says movie?
The one that says movie.
So let's see. Yep, there you go, and it's recording. Get a little shot of the skyline. And that's it. Easy.
So that's one pro's opinion on the NEX5, but we still encourage you to do your homework if you're in the market for a new camera. Jeff and I both agree to check out dpreview.com. That's the go-to site for professional photographers. They've got tons of camera reviews and really deep specs and tons of forums, even some dedicated to Sony cameras. If you do decide to go with the NEX5, you can get one with the 16mm pancake lens for about $650 at sonystyle.com. Or for $700, you can get it with the 18 to 55mm lens. And for $100 less, you can even get the NEX3. The main difference being that the NEX3 shoots video in 720p instead of the 1080i on the NEX5. All right, switching gears now from cameras to set-top boxes. Let's go to Anthony, who's going to give us the lowdown on Sony's new Netbox.
Thanks, Melody. If you're like me, you're probably looking to get rid of your cable box, and there are a lot of devices on the market from a lot of different companies right now that are trying to help you do that. Now, I'm not talking about Google TV or something that's meant to work with your cable box. I'm talking about for people who have a lot of media on a lot of different devices on their network. Maybe they have a lot of legally backed up copies of movies that they purchased at full price, like I do. Anyway, Sony's version of this sort of product is the network media player with Wi-Fi, which is also called the Netbox. Apple, of course, has their Apple TV, and there are a couple others on the market. Now, all these devices do similar things, and a lot of them have similar features. First of all of them have packaged content from providers like YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, Pandora, that sort of thing. They all, to a certain extent, see network drives and shares. The Netbox differs from a lot of these devices, and especially the Apple TV, in a few key ways. The first thing people notice is that the Apple TV is $30 cheaper, but there are a few reasons for that. First of all, the Netbox has full Dolby Digital and DTS audio output, which is very cool. The Netbox also has support for tons of video formats, including MPEG PlayStation 4, ABC HD if you've got a camcorder, DivX, MPEG-1 and 2, Windows Media, and of course the Apple TV only supports stuff that's supported by iTunes, so you're kind of locked in there. Here's an important one. The Apple TV is not 1080p. It only outputs at 720. So even if you give it a 1080 video, it's going to display at 720 on your TV. Kind of a bummer. Apple TV also has no component out and no USB in for your thumb drives and external drives. Also, the 99-cent price on iTunes is to rent an episode of TV. Amazon has pretty much the same library, and the 99 cents will purchase the episode. And of course, Sony supports the Amazon Video Marketplace. A lot of these boxes come with smartphone remote apps. Apple's does as well, but not a lot of these boxes support Android. And what's cool is the Sony Netbox does have a remote app for Android. I love it. One thing in my pocket at all times and no more. It's awesome. You know, downside is the same downside that you're gonna get with any of these boxes, which is because you're streaming large files over Wi-Fi, you have to take some time to actually buffer them. But that's what's cool about the Sony is you've got the USB port for the added connectivity, so you can watch a large file directly. The Netbox retails for $129 at sonystyle.com, which is $30 more than the Apple TV, but you get a lot more for your buck. But here's your chance to get one for free. As a matter of fact, it's this one right here. All you have to do is tell us what your first Sony product was, and we'll choose a winner at random. Just tweet us at Signal by Sony, that's SGNL, or send an email to signal@revision3.com, and we'll reveal the winner on our next show. All right, from the home theater to the movie theater, here's Melody with one of the most talked about movies of the year.
That's right, Anthony. If there's one movie to see this season, it is The Social Network. With David Fincher directing and Aaron Sorkin writing, it was bound to be good, am I right? Well, evidently it does not disappoint. Pretty much every film critic out there loves it. The New Yorker, Entertainment Weekly, Ain't It Cool News, all of them are giving The Social Network rave reviews. Even Ebert tweeted that it was, quote, the film of the year. But what we really want to know is, what do you think about the movie? Tweet us your review at Signal by Sony, SGNL by Sony, and we'll pick the 3 most creative responses and read them on our next show.
Okay, we've got something very special to show you right now, something very few people have gotten their hands on yet. Melody and I are 2 of a lucky few.
Yes, and we are going to share the wealth. What we have here is Sony's new PC gaming headset, still in its packaging, and we're going to open it up for you.
Joy! So basically what this headset's got going for you is it's a full 7.1 surround sound headset with an external audio processor, and it's got special modes for first-person shooting games and a special compression mode.
And a full user manual.
Great.
So you can read all about it.
Left ear goes left. So the first thing you got here are your wires for your connections. Now I should mention that these are real 7.1 connections into the audio processor, which is really awesome. So if you have a 5.1, a 7.1 audio card on your computer, you can hook directly into it. So that's great. It also does direct USB. On the processor itself, on the front you see you can switch between your inputs. You also have your effect settings. The first is surround sound, and the second is that special first-person shooter mode, which is still surround sound, but it's optimized for first-person shooting games. So like, everything you're hearing around you is very enhanced. It's super cool. Secondly, the compression mode, which is great because if you're playing a game, sometimes things are super, super quiet, and then boom, rocket, and it's super loud. So this is good because it kind of pushes everything down into a medium range so you don't kill your ears. On the back, you have all your connections for the wires, and then a gain control for the processor itself. Super awesome. You also have an on and off standby for auto standby.
All right, now let's take a look at the actual headphones here. Sony did a ton of market research and talked to actual gamers and asked them, what do you guys want in a new pair of headphones? And obviously comfort, and this is the design they came up with. This is the new triple fold design, and it's made for maximum comfort so you can keep it on for hours and hours on end and not feel like your head is being crammed by something tight.
Totally. I like it because you can see it here. It's like, normally you have a solid foam head cup, right, or ear cup. This is segmented, so if you're playing and you say, wear glasses, headphones usually push right up against here, and after a couple hours, it gets really achy. These sit over it really, really comfortably for long periods of time.
And it's got this awesome integrated mic, which is really, it goes really nicely in the design. So it just pops out right there, and you know, you can yell at whoever you want to yell at in the game.
Which is everyone, if you're me. I should also mention, if you have a really gigantic head, which I do, these fit over it really comfortably. They're super stretchy and really lightweight. You may wonder if the headset works for the PS3. Not currently, but the headset does work for all other non-gaming uses. I mean, you can use them as regular headphones and surround sound headphones, and they're super great. Music is awesome in it. DVDs are wonderful. Low quality cat videos on YouTube, not as much. You may want to turn off the surround sound for that, but even in 2.1, these are really, really amazing headphones. I have an idea on how to show these off.
What's that? The magic of television.
Right? So this is the Vaio VPC F1. It's Sony's newest 17-inch gaming laptop, and it's awesome. It's got the newest NVIDIA card in it. It's got USB 3, which works great when these are in USB mode. And it's super amazing. So
these headsets were just made available at sonystyle.com. For the stereo 2-channel version of these headphones, it's $79.99 if you don't have the 7.1 surround audio processor in your computer. But if you do, these headphones right here are $199.99 and get all that 7.1 goodness. Now, generally high-end headsets, yes, they do run about $130 to $140, and Sony's are a little bit pricier. But remember, this one comes with the external audio processor, and that's one of the really nice straws here.
This is sounding awesome, you guys. This is amazing.
Anthony really likes it, and if you really like it, there is a way for you to get it for free. So we'll be giving away 2 of these bad boys. Once again, all you have to do is just tell us what your first Sony product was, and 2 winners will be chosen at random.
That's right, just send an email with your answer to signal@revision3.com, and we will reveal the winners on our next show.
Well, we have now reached the end of this episode of Signal by Sony.
No, wait. I have one more thing I want to show you.
Right now?
Yes, right now.
Okay.
So you know those web ads with Kevin Butler?
Look at that swagger.
This is Kevin Butler, and I love him. And he is living with his family for 90 days and showing them how everybody can play the PlayStation Move.
So these are the Move ads, and it looks like this family is getting really into these games.
This is the magic Kevin Butler brings to your home.
He's been wanting to do it for years.
Yeah, totally.
So this isn't Kevin Butler's family?
No. This is a random American family he has moved in with for like 90 days. You can follow what's happening on his Twitter. It's kind of amazing. Those are like the ads you would expect. They show the family, they show you playing the game. Nothing out of the ordinary there.
Seems normal.
Right? Well, let me show you what they do for a weirdy country with weird people.
Oh, come on.
Like, say, Norway. That's right, Norway. You're weird.
Our movement is standing by to show you the moves. Do you want to party?
How awesome was that?
What was that?
That was the amazingness of Norway.
I had no idea the entire country of Norway was a Daft Punk video.
So, okay, that was kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
But what's really weird and awesome is the movement are real. And they are really checking out people's Facebook pages and looking for parties and showing up at their houses with PlayStation Move.
Oh my gosh, that's a little disturbing.
Yeah,
but
it's a real argument for Facebook privacy settings.
Yeah.
Always check those kids. Yeah, well, that does it for this edition of Signal by Sony. We hope you learned a thing or two, and if not, we are open to feedback. Tell us what you thought about the show by emailing us at signal@revision3.com or tweeting us at Signal by Sony. That's SGNL. You can also follow me personally at @acarboni.
And me at iMelody.
I am more interesting.
I'm more educational, and you're going to learn a lot.
That means boring. For now, this is Anthony and Melody signing off. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Come on.
What?
Don't you want to learn a thing or two when you go on the internet?
Bye.
Clearly not.
Bye, Melody.
iMelody.